Hello.
Hello, what's
How
up?
are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good. It's Monday, man.
Yeah, it is. It's a Monday for sure.
So are your kid like is Tristan back in school? Are the kids back in school? How is it working in Fort Worth?
Yeah, so Tristan is doing virtual,
Yeah.
and then Maya, she's in school right now, so she's
Yeah,
doing like mama's day out, and so
totally.
everything is good at where I'm at. I mean, it's not a lot of cases and stuff like that, so it's going good.
Yeah. And then how does Tristan like the virtual school? Because our boys hated it.
He likes it. He's Tristan is super independent, and he's kind of like introverted. Reminds me of myself, and so
Yeah.
he's kind of
Okay.
cool with just like just chilling and staying away. But I mean, we're in a new school district too, so he's kind of eager to get
Okay.
to school to meet some people.
Totally. Yeah. No, I mean, our school district's like worked so hard. I have so much freaking love for teachers and administrators who figured it all out. But just like my boys are antsy, my 8-year-old, he like can't sit still in front of it. And it feels like this, like, come on, we got it. We're going to do it every day. So I'm really excited. Dave sent me pictures of them all in their masks ready to go. So I'm like, oh Lord, okay, here goes nothing. We'll see. But I was telling them before you came on that you had sent me an outline for some of the work that we're going to go into this weekend at Rise Live, our virtual conference. And you remind me that what the title of your list was. We won't give them all of the juicy details because that's something you get if you're going. But what was it? Like, what was the intention behind that?
Yeah, four ways to stay disciplined and create some
Right.
mental toughness in your life.
Right. And so the fourth one really, like, we're in this world, right? This is all we do. We like write, we speak, we podcast. Back in the day, we used to go and give keynote speeches on the idea of personal development. So I feel like it's a big deal when we hear something that maybe we haven't considered before. And your fourth point was all about like everybody focuses on raising the ceiling, but are you raising the floor? So can
Right.
you unpack that? Because I want to know, and I feel like there's a good chance if it's going to help me, then it's probably going to help the other people who are on here.
Yeah, for sure. So I remember it's probably like 3 years ago. My trainer is actually one of my business partners now, Jay. I was working out, and he had us write down basically like our goals, right? Like our fitness goals, whether it be, I want to hit this body fat percentage, I want to lift this, I want to lose this amount of weight. And he asked me, he's like, okay, cool, that's your ceiling. You want to raise your ceiling? He was like, well, what's your floor? And he had me thinking, like, what is he talking about? Like, what's your floor? And I was like, okay. He was like, well, what you're no longer going to settle for. And he was like, I want you to raise that. And that stuck with me so hard because I just feel like this is true about life. The less we tolerate, the more we grow. And for so many people, we have a great vision on the things that we want to do, whether it be a fitness journey, whether it be, some type of lofty goals that we have. But the problem is that we still continue to settle for the same things in our life. And when that gap is big, it creates a lot of inconsistency. And so what
Mm-hmm.
happened with me when I raised the floor, when it moved with my ceiling, a lot of consistency started to happen in my life. Because so say it was, okay, Trent, I want to get down to 210 pounds. And in the past, I'll get to 210, but then it wouldn't be no floor for me. So I'll get back up to 235 real quick. But now my floor is 215. So when I hit 215, it's a reminder to say, okay, it's time to get back refocused so you can stay in that zone. So I just apply it to every area of my life, and it's really helped.
So I love this idea. Like you said something that I'm like trying to wrap my brain around, this idea of, being strict with what's in your life. I kind of think of this as like, we pay so much attention to what we say yes to, but we don't give as much attention to what we should say no to, right?
Yeah,
And so this
absolutely.
idea that by cutting things out of your life, you actually grow more. So can you talk about that? Because I think most people would think, oh, the only way to grow is to add to your life, not to subtract.
Nah, the best the best way to add to your life is sometimes to subtract from it. And it's just true
Hmm.
because a lot of, whether it's habits, whether it is people, whether it's, partnerships that you have, like you have to realize this. It's like, I put the equivalent of like climbing a mountain, right? I can climb a mountain with a whole bunch of weight on my back, and I could probably do it, but it's probably going to take me a lot longer to get up there, and it's going to exhaust me a lot more. And so some of us, what we're doing is we're carrying unnecessary weight on this climb of
Mm,
life. or we have these destinations we want to go to, and we're carrying unnecessary baggage. I mean, have you ever went through the airport and you have all these bags? You're like, what, I have all of this stuff, and it makes
Right.
it hard to travel. So for me, I'm always thinking about what are the things that I need to let go of that I know is no longer serving my life. And I mean, that's my core message of rehab time. I mean, it's the R is release. What are the bridges in your life that need to be burned that keep leading your life back to destruction? And it's not always people. It could be your habits. It could be your past. It could be your mentality. And I just know my life became a lot lighter when I decided to drop the unnecessary baggage from my life.
It also reminds me, you know, we joke a lot about the time that you took Dave and I hiking with you. So if you guys never heard this story, where were we? Were we in Phoenix?
Now we were in
No.
the Bay Area.
Bay Area, okay. And there was some crazy hike that you were doing, and we thought we were cool. So we're like, oh, Trent, like, we're gonna go hiking with you. And it was the most the most insane. I thought we were like up and down in an hour, and it probably took us 3.5 hours, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was a long time. And we started before sunrise. So I could not see the top. I had no concept of how far. And I remember at some point I was like ready to die. And you were like, we're about halfway. And I was like, oh my gosh. But that even feels like a really good analogy for what you're talking about here too, because if you are trying to get to the top of the mountain, I also think you do have to be really conscious of who you allow to like climb with you. Because on that journey, it was amazing. You're such an awesome friend to encourage us to do it. We would not have gotten to the top if you weren't there like, come on, you get telling us, we're almost there, which was a lie. You know, we were not almost there. But in that instance, that wasn't your best pace. That wasn't your, you know, that climb really wasn't about you and your growth. It was really about us. You were like helping us. So that's also an interesting way to look at it, is who are you going to allow to be with you on the climb, right? Because sometimes you love and care about these people, you're committed to these people, and so they're with you, even if that means that you're there to encourage them. And other times those people are really, they're not the right person to ascend the mountain with you, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I love to say mindsets are very contagious. And one of the things that I've asked myself, even personally, to hold myself accountable is, if someone was around me, would I be proud of how I'm influencing their life, right? I always say I'm influenced, but it's the same thing you look without. Like, look at your circle, look at your team, look at just the people around you, the people you surround yourself around. Like, do you want to catch what they have? Mindsets that they have.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to identify, you know, things that aren't right for you, you know it. But one thing that I had to realize with my life is there are good people that still aren't good for me. And I had to realize that.
I mean, say it again for the people in the back. That's so good.
Yeah. So when I realized that, it made it a lot easier for me to let go. Because like you said, man, I mean, the people around you we all, you know, the people that you surround your life with, the 5 people, as they always say, will influence your life the most. So you got to look around, cut some people out, do some surgery, add some people to your circle. And I think that's one of the keys to life on this ship that you're sailing on.
When you had to cut some things out, like when you were sort of raising that floor, can you give us examples? Like, was it like, oh, I'm gonna never again will I, you know, go to bed past a certain, like, was it that tactical?
Some of it was. For me, I'm always thinking about standards. I don't know if you heard me talk about it. You probably have, but like, I'm more into standards over goals, because just for me, like how my brain works, goals excite me, but once I get there, I get bored. And so like, I'm always thinking about, okay, what's the standard I could live? Because I feel like standards are lifestyle which you live by. So for me, it was like, okay, what's the new lifestyle that I'm going to live? And so, yeah, for me, it's going to bed at a certain time. For me, it's doing certain things in the morning, which look different, to be able to create the energy and mental health clarity that I need. A certain weight goal for myself. And it's not just about weight, I'll say body fat, but that fasting for me, like intermittent fasting, that was a thing that I say, you know what, I'm going to do. You know, I'm not going to eat breakfast anymore. And not telling people not to do it, like research.
No, I do intermittent fasting too. I love it. So just out of curiosity, what are your hours? Like what's your fast hours?
Yeah, so I don't, 8, probably 7, 8, and I don't eat till after 12. And I'm to a place now where I'll do 24-hour fast. I'll do 48-hour
Do you
fast.
really? Wow.
Yeah, I did a 72 recently.
And honestly, the thing, I want to say this, because again, like, guys, do your research. Don't let two strangers on the internet tell you that you should do intermittent fasting. But for me, I don't notice, it's not like I'm noticing a big difference in, I don't really notice a difference in like my body, but my energy and my mental clarity, it's wild. Like, it blows my mind. And I heard about it forever, and I knew y'all did it, and I was not interested. And then Amy Porterfield was like, you have to try this. And I did it for a week, and I will never go back, because I cannot explain how much better I can focus.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you enter ketosis, and people can do their research, but it's totally amazing for me when I do it. And so I just like the way I feel, so I stay with it.
Yeah. So I love this idea of standards and set a new standard, and what does it look like to level up. There's something really interesting to me about what you said in that when you like goals and they get you excited, but then you get there and you sort of get bored, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
And typically how I've handled that is I just make a new goal. But there's something really interesting about set a standard, and can you live to this standard consistently? Which I love this idea, because it's more of a lifestyle choice than, oh, I'm just going to do something for a certain period of time.
Yeah, so the quote that I always use that people love, I say, goals are something that you reach, standards are something that you live by. And for me, when I'm focusing on a standard, on a lifestyle, what ends up happening is I end up, crushing the goal anyway. You know what I'm saying? I end up blowing past the goal, because I break it down like this. When I think about some major in my life, I often think about, who do I have to become? What's the standards I have to develop in order to achieve this, not just for a short period of time, but for consistency over my lifestyle, over my life. And so I just think, if you think about standards, it just puts you in a whole different place, because sometimes the greatest enemy to success is not failure, it's success, at least for me. And so I'm always thinking about, how can I level up with consistency?
Yeah, I love that. Hey, if you guys are just joining us, I'm on with Trent Shelton, and we are talking about setting a new standard, raising your ceiling, raising your floor. Trent is part of our Rise virtual conference this Saturday. Trent's been a part of like every Rise conference ever. So we're really excited to have you virtually. But oh my God, I fully lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you something else. What does it look like for you in terms of like standards and consistency and all of that in quarantine, in the world that we're living in, and everything's so different now? And how have you approached this time? I mean, I feel like those habits and routines are what has sustained us, but I'm just curious what it has looked like for you in the last 7 months.
Can you repeat that one more time, Rachel? I have this country internet, so I was breaking up. You were breaking up on me.
No, I said, how have having those standards in place helped you in quarantine and pandemic? You said your country internet.
Yeah. So my internet is terrible. So hopefully you guys can still hear me. I heard what you asked.
Yo, we got you.
So can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So
yes,
for me, it helped, because obviously, with quarantine, a lot of things change. Obviously, I mean, for everybody's life. I mean, it flipped everybody's world, upside down, inside out, etc. But I know this is true. No matter what happens in your life, no matter if it's the worst, if it's the most terrible season, if you lose something, if your business is failing, I do know, because I learned this from sports. I do know, no matter what it says on the clock, as long as you have time left, if you continue to do the things and follow the game plan and trust the game plan, you have to make certain adjustments, but you trust the game plan, eventually you'll get out that situation, and eventually you'll grow because of that situation. So for me, in this whole quarantine, I just kept telling myself that I'm going to grow because of this. And when I get out of this, hopefully soon, when we get out of this thing, I know I'm going to be a better person, because I still develop the routines. So I don't want to like mess up the live. Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you now. That country internet is showing up though.
Okay,
for sure.
cool.
No.
So,
no, I got
yeah,
you're back. You're totally back.
My internet is terrible. Like, we can't get internet because quarantine for like two weeks from now out here, and we have one service, and then we have this like little modem box that's terrible. Tristan's old school, so I'm in and out, and I can just see your pause with a smile on your face. So I don't want to hold up the live, so I'm gonna just jump off.
No,
I
yeah.
appreciate you, and
Thank
thank you.
you. Thank you, Trent. Thank you so much for coming on. Super appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.